and welcome back. Before I begin, I'd like to give a big thank you to Frankly Ms. Shankly, who has become my newest subscriber. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And now on with the haul. First, from University of Baltimore, I got The White Ribbon. This is the latest from director Michael Haneke, and I'd seen a couple of his films before. I saw Cachet and The Piano Teacher. And although I thought they were both kind of interesting, and The Piano Teacher happens to be based on a novel I really loved by Elfriede Jelinek, and stars Isabelle Huppert, who's one of my favorite actresses, I felt kind of a distance from both of them. I'm not sorry I saw them, but I wasn't that crazy about them. And I checked this one out because the library had just gotten it, and it was on the shelf, and it won all these awards at Cannes, and was very highly acclaimed. But honestly, it's 2.5 hours long, and I really expected that I would probably get maybe 45 minutes in and finally say, life is too short, I give up. On the contrary, this is such an amazing film. I highly, highly recommend it. It's almost difficult to describe. It reminded me a little bit of the director Clouseau, who directed Les Diaboliques and Le Corbeau, and it was at the same time almost, if you can imagine, Bergman's Fanny and Alexander crossed with some of those odd little Hammer films they did in the 60s or the 70s with the demonic children, like The Blood on Satan's Claw or Children of the Damned, Village of the Damned. A very strange movie, but so good. I was actually, by the end, when the credits were rolling, I almost found myself on the verge of tears just because, I mean, the content is pretty disturbing, but not because of the content, but just because it was over, and I didn't want it to be over. So I don't want to say too much about the plot because it's not really conventionally plotted. It's very, very deliberately paced. It's in black and white, so if you're not in the mood for a deliberately paced black and white film, this may not be for you. But just go see it. It's really amazing. And the one caveat is that the subtitles are extremely tiny, and they're white subtitles in a black and white film. So I had to not only put on my glasses, but sit about 3 feet away from the television. But so worth it, so good, highly recommended. And next, from Stevenson University, I got the 3rd and final season of Arrested Development. I'm looking forward to seeing this to see how it will all wrap up, but I'm also going to be really sad when it ends. I've found I've really grown attached to the characters, and I might even go out and buy the whole show, I'm not sure. So if you have not seen this yet, and I know it's been really, really hyped, and how could anything this hyped be that good? It really is that good. Go check it out, buy it, borrow it from your grandmother, whatever. And last are my selections from the Sights and Sounds department of the Enoch Pratt Free Library. First up is Harakiri, which is directed by Masaki Kobayashi, who also directed The Human Condition and Kwaidan. I haven't seen either of those yet, and I'm sort of trying to work myself up to see The Human Condition, which is a series of 3 3-hour-long films. And to commit myself to a 9-hour film, I decided to check out this other work by him. And I thought this was great. It's a samurai film, but it's not really a conventional samurai film. If you're expecting to see a lot of swordplay, there is some towards the end, but this might not be for you. Once again, very deliberately paced, and really just a tragic and brilliant film. The lead actor delivers a tour de force performance. It's about an older samurai who basically goes to avenge the death of his son-in-law by harakiri at the hands of a cruel warlord. And that's really simplifying it. You really just have to see it to get the experience. Next is Songs from the Second Floor. I was not crazy about this. It was pretty well acclaimed, but I just was not very much into it. I guess I would describe it as Buñuel meets Lars von Trier, but I would just recommend seeing something by Buñuel or Lars von Trier. It's surreal, it's kind of funny, but not really. I don't know. I didn't get it. Maybe you would like it. I didn't. And now onto the ones I have not yet seen from the Pratt. This is The Saddest Music in the World. It's directed by Maddin, whose other film, Brand Upon the Brain, I absolutely loved. And this stars Isabella Rossellini, who was also in Brand Upon the Brain, and many other things, of course. Next we have High School 2, as you can see, long documentary directed by Frederick Wiseman. He also directed a documentary called High School back in, I believe, the late 60s, which became quite famous and has a couple of infamous scenes in it, one of which is the sex education scene delivered by someone who is clearly rather nervous and incompetent. And my favorite scene in that, the original High School film, was the young teacher, I believe she's an English teacher, who brings in the Simon and Garfunkel song, I think it was Bridge Over Troubled Water, and she plays it and she's trying to connect with the kids and tell them how, to her, that's like poetry, and it was sort of, she's very well-meaning, but it was sort of amusing to watch. And this is the sequel. I actually am not sure if I think he chooses a different school for this one, and later on, but we'll see. And last but not least, I got the Masterpiece Theater production of Kidnapped. This was on only a couple of years ago, but for some reason I didn't get a chance to see it. And Kidnapped was one of my favorite books when I was a kid, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it in the adaptation. I hope it holds up to my memories of it. I remember just being thrilled by the book when I was a child. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.